All right, I wanted to give my response a bit to Zoul. He's a great YouTuber, fantastic videos. If you're watching this, go and take a look at his videos. All the respect to you, Zoul. If you haven't already watched my bio video, I did start on Macs and did not really care too much for them. Although that's what I knew coming out of high school and early university life, and even going back in my elementary, everything was Mac, and so I was used to it. And then Windows 95 comes out, and I will say for me at that time I was like, wow, this is very neat, very different. And as my bio says, I went in that direction. I completely left Mac and went with 95. And I will say that Apple had its problems. I mean, they were probably, well, had Steve Jobs not come back and they made the business decisions they did going into 97, who knows what would have happened to Apple and Mac. So that said, for many years I was on Windows, and like I said in my bio, NT4 with a caveat of Service Pack 6A was my favorite OS of Windows. I really had no issues with it. Still to this day, if I could get away with it, and it's a Windows necessity in terms of development, and they want it, and NT4 can handle it, I would put NT4 there. Why did I go back to Mac in 2003? After NT4, and this is before plug and play, I think. Many of the businesses I worked with didn't like NT4 because it would complain like there was no end if you change the hardware profile, and it was tremendously more difficult than it would be in the plug and play systems to update the hardware. I was a techie, of course, and I didn't care, so I did it. And it ran solid, and in that case NT4 was on a limited set of hardware, or at least you had to really get a driver in there. You're not going to get away with generics. But over the years of Windows, there were stability issues, whether it was a worm that got in, which was a vulnerability within the OS. It wasn't anything that anybody could have downloaded or anything like that. Windows has had plenty of its vulnerabilities, whether even when I was doing web programming with IIS. Now, I know Linux has had denial of service attacks, but I try to move everyone over that I can to a Linux server box, but man, I have had a denial of service attack on Linux, but nowhere near the amount that I have with Windows. And it's kind of like you said, Windows is just simply easier to attack. Now, of course, you're going to get these spyware and viruses, and I surf all day long. Well, not all day long. Exaggeration, but okay, when I come home and I need to do my surfing, it's all on Macs. I don't have really any issues, but that's not to say that anybody's really programming to attack Mac. I know of a vulnerability in QuickTime that was exposed, and Apple has supposedly addressed that, and a lot of the stuff with Mac has to do with that. And Gareth did a video on this, and it's every Mac user should do this, and you make another account for yourself that cannot administrate your machine, because usually when the account is logged in and something comes in, it won't have any permissions to do anything. So anybody watching this, go to Gareth's videos, and I don't know which one it is, but he goes over the security on there. I think it's in the title of tips for OS 10. That said, a lot of what it was a buildup of irritation with Windows over the years, because I work with it, I still program to it, and you just build up this irritation, whether it's whether they fix their holes, which I know XP2, I always say XP2, Service Pack 2 prevented a lot of these open attacks, and they close a lot of their holes. It's something else, whether it's an NTDLR error, and I've had to, I would do the whole boot repair and copy file, it didn't work, and I've had more than once an NTDLR error on different years, so to speak, and memory dumps, you name it. And did I bother really to trace it out? I know you can go to the dump files and do it, and usually I just do the repair disk. Now I will say I don't have, Dead Rat has kernel panics, and I've actually sent him messages to see if we can address that. It's a $600 investment. It should be taken care of. But iMovie 08, it is buggy. I will say that, and even transferring this video over, it has crashed many times. What I love about when an application crashes on Mac is it simply will say, this application has crashed, we will restore your session. Now that happens on Microsoft Office as well. I know that the Word does that, but man, other third-party stuff on there, no. My machine has gone down, especially when I've been gaming. It's gone down, and that's likely a driver problem with the video cards. One time my gaming rig, the damn XP wouldn't even boot up. I have no idea what it was. I didn't even bother researching it. It would just simply stay there. I did repair for myself. So it's years of buildup of frustration with Windows and just not wanting to have to deal with it. And I guess when you also work with Sun, and you get used to Linux servers, and your projects are up and running, and you don't have to really mess with them, and you have to constantly readdress your Windows projects, what else are you supposed to think? And I don't have anything with Vista because I don't use it at home. A lot of my coworkers at my place of work have used it and have rolled back to XP2, and a lot of that is driver issues, although that they have had these stop errors that have occurred. I am not IT support at my business. We have our own technical support, and they deal with it. One of my closest colleagues has Vista, and basically it runs very slow, and we don't have the best of machines over there either. I mean, I program on the minimalist hardware. I mean, programming is programming unless I have to do intensive stuff. But it's a dog. So I'm not going to, I don't plan to go to Vista on my own machines at home or at work. So I don't know if I've been specific enough, but I mean, as far as the vulnerabilities, everybody's familiar with the Blaster and the Nichia worms and what was the other ones? I think it was Orange, and then the LSAS attacks. Just over the years, these vulnerabilities, and then if they fix one thing, there's something else that happens, whether it's drivers or it's USB failure. Man, it just, the list goes on, and so one gets frustrated, and my Macs don't. I've never had a USB problem. I've never had a driver problem. iMovie is buggy, and it crashes, but it comes back up and says, iMovie had a problem, restart session, and I'm back up. I didn't lose any data. So, and that's also happened with some with other applications, like some XML editors that I use. So that's all I can say. I still use Windows, so you can't really say. I guess I can't really say I've switched, but in Linux boxes. But that would be my reasons. Thanks for watching.